Hello everyone, factoring into the 8th Summer 2020 update from GWV.com. So we've done 7 updates for the Summer of 2020 so far, as well as 2 seasonal model roundups. We are building up now towards the end of our summer updates. On the 31st of May, which I think is around 3 weeks today, we're going to be releasing the GWV.com Summer 2020 forecast. And going to be a very interesting day, I would have thought. But we've still got some important updates still to do, particularly next week when we're going to be looking at ENSO. We're looking at ENSO data for next week's 9th update. But this 8th summer update is going to look at April precipitation. Of course, last week for the 7th update, we looked at the April central temperature. This update is going to look at April precipitation data for England and the Wales. I've had an absolute nightmare with this update, I can tell you that right now. I was working on it kind of like around 20 minutes ago, actually still trying to get it together. I'll talk you through everything that's happened with this update very shortly. Just say that coming up later on today, we're going to have GWV's sunny roundup, so that will be your usual sunny afternoon eclectic mix of this and that. And also, we've got a live stream coming up on YouTube at 5 o'clock. We're all going to get together and see how we're all doing while we remain stuck firmly and truly in lockdown. So that'll be coming up at 5 o'clock on YouTube. This video can be quite a long one as usual with the long range stuff, so you can't watch it in one go, then don't worry, it will be kept to the website indefinitely, and there'll be a written summary that goes with it as well. I'll get that up for you on this evening. If it seems like I'm a little bit away with the fairies slightly, it's because I've had a nightmare of an evening, and I may sound like I'm slurring my words. I've not been drinking. I'm just very, very tired. I've done 3 updates today on Saturday, as well as trying to sort out this nightmare of an update for the summer, and I'm extremely tired. So the mouth is a little bit all over the place with the tongue on that. So we're just going to have to try and get through it as best we can, and then I'm going to go collapse in a heap at the end of the recording. So let me tell you what happened, what went wrong. We was planning, we are still going to show these actually because they're quite interesting, but we was planning to show you the summers following the driest Aprils on record. That's what we sort of had planned for this, and we've had those analogues in the bag for several days. That was absolutely fine, but around a couple of hours ago I thought I'd have a look at the England and Wales precipitation to make sure that it had in fact been an exceptionally dry April. And actually it turns out for England and Wales precipitation it wasn't that dry really. So if we scroll down through all of the years and decades and months, we come down to 2020 just here, and it turns out that we have an England and Wales precipitation of 37.1 millimetres. Now, our analogues for summers following the driest Aprils on record were for 25 millimetres or less. For example, up here, 2007, 10.4, and 2011, 11.6 for total England and Wales precipitation. So obviously this has actually been a significantly wetter April, although dry of an average, but it has been a significantly wetter April than like the driest Aprils on record, and so that left me in a bit of a quandary about what to do. And what I've decided to do is we are going to show you the summers following the driest Aprils on record because I think they're quite interesting, and you know there's going to be a lot of people wondering how summers come out following the driest Aprils on record. So we will show you that because we've already got the data, so we might as well include it. But we're also going to, and this is what I've been working on this evening in the past hour or two, we're also going to show you summers following Aprils with an England and Wales precipitation of 35 to 40 millimetres. Quite a narrow range, but that does place April 2020 at 37.1, slap bang in the middle. So that's what we're going to do for the first part of the video. So here we go. We've got the summer of 1839 here, following April England and Wales precipitation of 35 to 40 millimetres. This summer has quite a lot of northern blocking sitting up to our north, with with below average heights to our south, and that leaves us bringing in light northerly to northeast winds, perhaps quite unsettled with that summer, and a little bit on the cool side as well. Our next summer, following an April England and Wales precipitation range of 35 to 40 millimetres, is the summer of 1860, and this one again looks very, very unsettled, with a deep trough of below average height centred right over the top of the country and much of Western Europe as well. That's a very unsettled and wet summer in 1860. The next summer is 1863, again following an England and Wales precipitation of 35 to 40 millimetres. This one turns out to be unsettled too, with lots of low pressure in the northwest of Europe. There's a blocking area of high pressure up towards Greenland. Jet stream is pushed southwards, something like that. Our next summer is 1864. This one with the below average heights over and to the east of the country, above average heights reaching in the middle of the Atlantic and up to Greenland. Again, cool and unsettled with the summer of 1864. The next summer is 1875. This one, again, with below average heights over and to the west of the country, some above average heights sitting to the east. Jet stream again is pushed southwards and then rising northwards, a bit like that. It's another unsettled summer in 1875. Next up, lots from the 1800s with these. Next up, we've got 1887. Again, following an April England Wales precipitation of 35 to 40 millimetres. This one is a drier summer and a warmer summer, actually, with above average heights extending in to the UK from the north, a trough in the Atlantic and to our northeast. Very much a trough ridge type pattern, doing something like that with the flow and with the jet stream in the summer of 1887. Then we go through to 1914. This one being shown quite a bit in the analogues updates, I think. So we get below average heights in the summer of 1914 to our south, above average heights to our northeast. It's an unsettled, quite warm, humid, thundery type summer in 1914. Quite a mixed summer, but also quite a warm and thundery summer. The summer of 1915 is showing up next, again with below average heights over and to the west of the country. Blocking is up to our north, and the jet stream again is pushed southwards, something a little bit like that. It's an unsettled and cool wet summer in 1915. 1928 is our next summer, following an April England and Wales precipitation range of 35 to 40 millimetres. This one quite unsettled, below average heights again up to the north, and bring the jet stream through, something a little bit like that. That's a very unsettled summer in 1928. 1933 is a much better summer. This one has above average heights up to our northeast and extending through the country to our west. Winds are in from the east. That's a much drier and warmer summer in 1933. Quite a hot summer, actually. So that's the first really good summer showing up within this package of analogues. The next summer is going to be 1943. Following an April England and Wales precipitation range of 35 to 40 millimetres. This one is unsettled with below average heights out to west. Again, this is shown up quite a lot, I think, the summer of 1943, which seems quite a lot in this year's updates. From above average heights down to our south, it's rather a coolish and unsettled summer in 1943. And then a very, very long gap through to 1990. Now, it's possible that I've made some mistakes here. I've double checked this to make sure that this is right, but it's possible that due to the way I've had to work with this tonight, but I've made a few mistakes and left some years out. But it seems like we go from 1943 to 1990 then, the next time we have an April England Wales precipitation range of 35 to 40 millimetres. This is a funny summer. The summer of 1990 has high pressure to our south, below average heights to the north. Jet stream is pushed northwards as well. So it starts unsettled this summer, starts quite wet and cool in June 1990, and then it gets progressively hotter, and it has a very hot spell late July and into early August. And then lastly, we've got 2013, the England Wales precipitation for for April 2013 was actually 34.7, but I sort of rounded it up to 35 millimeters, and this is how we come out for the summer of 2013. It's a very anti-cyclonic summer. It's a hot summer as well, particularly hot in July with above average heights centered over to the east of the country, and we're bringing in those very warm to hot easterly winds. It does deteriorate a little bit in August, but it has a phenomenal July, really hot and dry in July of 2013. So putting all of that together, this is how all Junes combined are looking when we have an April England and Wales precipitation range of 35 to 40 millimetres, and overall it is a very unsettled signal for all Junes combined, with a deep area of below average heights over the UK, and high pressure is up to the north. The jet stream is going southwards, something a little bit like that as well. So cool and wet signal for all Junes combined. July's not quite as bad. It does have like a northern blocking signal, which tends not to be all that good really, but the below average heights are sort of over to the east of the country, so not quite as unsettled in the all Julys combined. All August combined, though, returns back to those very unsettled conditions again, with below average heights coming in off the Atlantic along with the jet stream as well. So all of those August do look quite cool and unsettled. And then finally, all summers combined, following an April England and Wales precipitation range of 35 to 40 millimetres, looks like this: unsettled, below average heights over and to the east of the country, blocking up to our north. Jet stream is pushed southwards as well. Just a cool and unsettled looking signal for the summers following up those Aprils with an England and Wales precipitation range of 35 to 40 millimetres. Bear in mind we do have 1933 in there. We've got 2013 and 1990, so there is a significant number of the decent summers, but the overall package does look very, very mixed when we have that April precipitation range for England and Wales of 35 to 40 millimetres. Right, so I'm going to pause the video there, and then I'll show you the data for summers following the driest Aprils on record, because we've got those up, and I think some people will find that interesting to see how summers overall look when April is exceptionally dry. Because last week we looked at the summers following the warmest Aprils on record. This week we're going to look at summers following the driest Aprils on record, although April 2020 wasn't the driest April, or one of the driest Aprils on record. It's actually a little bit more unsettled than we anticipated. But we will show you that data very shortly, so I'm going to pause the video there, and we'll see you back here very, very soon. Right, we're back, and we're ready to resume our 8th Summer 2020 update. So before the break, we was looking at summers following April's with an England and Wales precipitation range of 35 to 40 millimetres, placing April 2020 right slap bang in the middle of that range with an April England and Wales precipitation of 37.1 millimetres. Now, what we was originally going to show you for this update was just summers following the driest Aprils on record, but we realised that actually this April turned out to be a little bit more unsettled than we anticipated when we started discussing what we would do with the 8th update. But we are still going to show you this data purely for interest purposes. I think a lot of people will find this quite interesting. And I say a big thank you to our good friend Terry Scoley for getting all of this together for us. So thank you so much, Terry, for that. Right, let's get on with it then. Oh, and I'm also going to say a big thank you to our good friend Richard Trott. I didn't do that at the start of the video. Big thank you to Richard for the summer updates gift. Right, let's get on with it then. And we're going to look at summers following April England and Wales precipitation of 25 millimetres or less. So basically these summers are following the driest Aprils on record, from 25 millimetres down to, if you like, 1 millimetre. So here we go, and we've got 1840 first of all. So yes, this summer of 1840, deep trough over the top of the country, a cool cool and wet summer in the summer of 1840. Then we go through to 1842. This is a drier summer following a warmer summer too, following one of the driest Aprils on record. This one has winds in from an easterly direction, so that's a drier and warmer summer. Our next summer is 1844. This one with a deep trough of low pressure again over top of the country. It's a cool and wet summer in 1844. The next summer, following an April England Wales precipitation range of 25 millimeters or less, is the summer of 1852. Again, with a deep trough of below average heights over top of the country, a ridge of above average heights to our north and east. The next summer is 1855, and this one again with a lot of high pressure up to the northeast. Winds are probably in from the east, with this one some low pressure to our southeast. That looks like it could be quite a unsettled and warm summer. Next up is 1870, following an April England Wales precipitation range of 25 millimeters or less. This one with above average heights over to the west and north of the country, below average heights to our south and east. Winds are in from an east to northeasterly direction. That's a cooler summer, probably not all that unsettled because the Atlantic is blocked, but it is a relatively coolish looking summer. Next up, we've got 1873. Lots and lots of dry Aprils, interestingly, in the 1800s, maybe a bit surprisingly. But next up is 1873. Again, we've got winds coming in from the west. That's an unsettled looking signal for the summer of 1873. 1893 is our next summer. This one looks like it would be an unsettled summer, but actually it's not a bad summer, despite having high pressure up towards Greenland, low pressure to our south. There is quite a lot of hot weather, actually, in the summer of 1893. Next we have 1912, and this is one of the worst summers of the 20th century, and it does follow one of the driest Aprils on record. So 1912 is a terrible summer, and particularly bad in August. Deep low pressure over the UK, Western Europe. High pressure is up to the north. Jet stream pushed a long way southwards. It's a cold and wet summer in 1912. 1938 is up next, with the below average heights extending in from the North Atlantic into west of Europe. Above average heights are pulled out into the central part of the Atlantic. Again, there's quite a deep trough within the 500 millibar flow. That's a wet and cool summer in 1938. Next, we have 1954, following one of the driest Aprils on record. And this one is, again, a very, very bad summer. It's another one of those that's kind of like one of the worst of the 20th century, really. Very deep low pressure over the UK and much of Northern Europe. It's a cold, wet summer in 1954. 1957 is up next. This one with below average heights to our north and east, above average heights out to our west. Overall, it looks like quite a cool and unsettled summer, but it does have a hot June, or a very hot spell during June of 1957. It's very front-loaded. Later on, it deteriorates really badly. 1974 is next. This is a cool and wet summer, very cool and wet, deep low pressure across much of the North Atlantic and Northern Europe as well. That's a cool and wet summer in 1974. But then look at this. We have the daddy showing up. We've got a daddy of hot summers. 1976 does follow one of the driest Aprils on record. You can see why it's the daddy of hot summers, with high pressure centred right over the top of the UK. Winds are in from the east. It's hot, it's dry. It's the second of the two great drought summers of 75 and 76, but it's the hotter of the two and the drier of the two as well. It's the daddy of hot summers, and it does follow one of the driest Aprils on record. And then we have 1980, and it's back to normal with below average heights back over the UK and much of Northern Europe. High pressure is up to the north, and the jet stream is pushed southwards as well in the summer of 1980. 1984 is another pretty decent summer following a very dry April. This one with the high pressure just out to our northwest. Low pressure is sort of extending through eastern parts of Europe. Jet stream is doing something a little bit like that. So it's overshadowed by 1983, but it's in its own right. The summer of 1984 is pretty good. And they have quite a long gap through to 1997. So the summer of 1997 has the below average heights to our south and the above average heights over Scandinavia. That leaves us bringing in easterly winds. It's very easterly summer. Quite a wet summer, particularly so in June of 1997. That was a very wet month. August also quite wet, but also August 1997 is a very hot month, very hot, humid, steamy month. One of the hottest Augusts on record. Now we've got 2007 turning up next, so a bit alarmingly seeing that again. Above average heights over Greenland to our north, below average heights over the UK. Winds are sort of in from the east and from the northeast. Very wet summer in 2007. 2011 looks like that, with below average heights again over the country. Northern blocking is involved in the summer of 2011. 2011 is a cool and wet and unsettled summer. And then finally we've got the summer of 2017, and this one with above average heights to our south and below average heights are up to the north. Winds are sort of in from a westerly direction with that summer. It's a front-loaded summer again. There's a lot of dry and hot weather early on in the summer during June of 2017, and then it all begins to fall apart and we have a cool and wet August in 2017. Bring all of that together. This is how all Junes combined are looking following the driest Aprils on record. Cool and wet signal for all Junes combined, with below average heights over the UK. High pressure is up to the north. Jet stream for southwards. Cool wet signal for all Junes combined following the driest Aprils on record. All Julys combined looks very unsettled too, with below average heights again over UK and much of northern Europe. High pressure is up to the north, so again cool wet signal for all Julys. All August combined have northern blocking, high pressure within the northern latitudes, below average heights over to the south of the country. Quite an unsettled signal again for those Augusts. And all summers combined are looking like this, with deep low pressure over the top of the country. Very, very unsettled summers overall indeed, when we have summers following the driest Aprils on record. And also we've got post-1950 as well, which I can show you just here. So we're a little bit out of sync with that. So this is how all Junes combined are looking. When we have the driest Aprils on record post-1950. Unsettled signal, we have below pressure over the UK and much of Western Europe as well. So where do you want to go next? Let's see if we can find all Julys. There they are. All Julys combined, very unsettled. If we just take out the years before 1950 and only show the years post-1950, makes no difference really whether we have the years included from the sort of early part of the 20th century, 1800s, or whether we just narrow it down to all years post-1950. It makes no difference really. It's a very, very unsettled signal indeed. And then all August combined look like that. So a little bit better for all August combined post-1950, with higher pressure to the north, lower pressure to the south. Winds are more sort of easterly with that post-1950. So out of the three summer months, it does look as though August has possibly the potential to be just a little bit drier and a little bit warmer as well, perhaps. But overall, unsettled looking signal. Whether it's all years combined or all years combined post-1950 doesn't really make a great deal of difference. Very unsettled overall, with plenty of low pressure across not just the UK, but much of Northern Europe. And that really does bring to an end the 8th Summer 2020 update. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please give us a thumbs up on video if you did enjoy it, and let us know in the comments what you thought to the video. I appreciate it was all a little bit all a little bit of a mishmash. We have had big problems with this update, but hopefully we was able to bring it together for you in the end. This video will be placed on the summer 2020 updates and forecast page, the written summary that goes with that as well, and I'll get that up for you this evening, probably around 8 o'clock. It'll be a little bit late. It's got a live stream to do on YouTube at 5. And also don't get GWV Sunny Roundup will be coming up after lunch as well. But for the 8th Summer 2020 update, that's all for now. And thanks for watching. I'm going to go and collapse in a heap somewhere. And I'll see you for the Sunday Roundup. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.